welcome back to Keeping Up with the Chaldeans. We are on to our next episode today with our guest, Lynette Toma. Lynette is with Connecting Kids, also a author, therapist, and soon to come the harmonic egg to Michigan. How are you, Lynette?
I'm great. Thank
Anthony,
you so much for having me.
my co-host. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good to have you on. So if you want to give us a little bit of introduction of yourself and your background for the audience, it'd be great.
Okay. I'm Lynette Toma, and I started working with children with autism when I was 18 years old. So it's always been a passion of mine to work with children. I have basically decided to be a very unconventional Chaldean, and I moved away from my family when I was 24 to discover myself and discover my passions, and I'm here to share all of those today.
Awesome.
Nice.
Let's get into this. Let's start off with the Connecting Kids, if you can explain to us that part of your business.
Okay, yep. So Connecting Kids is basically a business that I started myself. I basically cultivated my own type of therapy to work with children.
Where did you start that?
I started it in LA,
Okay.
and so it's currently my business now in LA. I started it because I thought that there was a different way of doing therapy, not just having a child sitting in a chair. And so I took kids and I brought a bunch of toys for them, and we played on the floor, and I was getting lots of language out of them and connecting really well with them and teaching them how to share and teaching them how to ask for what they need and making them feel safe enough to communicate with me. Right now, I specialize in working with children that are nonverbal.
Okay.
Because you're a language therapist.
Yeah, a speech
okay.
therapist. Yep.
Speech therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that work in regards to, speech? Obviously, it's the biggest, most important part of our everyday life. Mm-hmm. Is it hard for parents to come to see you? I mean, what's the first step they take to get them to you? Or, is it adults or just children that you're working with?
I usually get referrals for early intervention.
Okay.
And so I start with children as early as 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what I do, if you think about communication,
right.
Communication is obviously verbal, but most communication is actually nonverbal. So gestures, facial expressions, and body language. But I take that like a step further. So I incorporate all of those things along with sign language. And I also train children to use devices to communicate. So a device would be an iPad and a special program downloaded onto an iPad that includes pictures and words to communicate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And your leap from Michigan to California, was it to go after this type of lifestyle?
Yes.
To be able to help and take care of? And what made it so much more important to get to that side? Was it just that you wanted to take the initiative to be on your own on the other side of the country? Because again, as a not only a woman but a Chaldean woman, mm-hmm. that's a big leap, to do, especially in our days of growing up. What made it so much more important to get over there? Like, what was it, courage for yourself, or what was it that made you?
Well, first it was the weather.
Yeah. That's right. Good call there.
I was ready to get out of the winter.
We do come from a warm country, right?
Yeah.
And also, there's a huge Chaldean community in San Diego.
Sure.
So I kind of knew that I would feel safe there because I had a lot of cousins there. Mm-hmm. So it was an easier transition because of the cousins that I have in San Diego.
Who were a few of the cousins that you hooked up with early on when you first got out there?
Hani Shamoon.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sam Shamoon.
Yep.
Those are my second mom and dad.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. So they took me in, until I found my apartment, and it was just like a second family, and I was so grateful to have them there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for taking care of Lynette for us.
They know it. They're the best.
San Diego, definitely the sister to Detroit for Chaldeans. So. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy, though, from how much of a distance you come to Detroit?
Oh, yeah.
Heart of, the factory jobs and what have you. Brutal weather during the winter, and then make it all the way on the other side of the country. I wish my parents got more west when they were here, but I didn't get lucky. It's a different lifestyle.
It's a different lifestyle.
It really is. Even when we go there, visit some of the Chaldeans. I have family that's out there, too. It's a little bit different from the way we do things, here. A little bit laid back, I'd say.
It's very laid back.
Yeah, which is
super nice.
which is not that bad. So
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges that you faced when you first got out there?
When I first got out there, I mean, I was pretty lucky. Like I said, like because I had the support of the Chaldean community out there, I didn't really have a lot of challenges.
Oh, good.
I felt completely supported by my cousins out there, and it wasn't, it was support it was a safety because they understood me because I'm Chaldean, and and the community that exists out there is super tight like it is out here, and so they just took me in like I was one of them, and so it really helped. I didn't really have a lot of challenges. I found a job before I moved there, and I was actually placed in a school that was predominantly Chaldean. Wow. And so again, I had Chaldean coworkers, I had Chaldean students that I was working with, and
was it like a charter school?
Yep,
or
it was a charter school.
Do you know the name? Do you remember the name?
Literacy First Charter School.
Great.
So you left home and ended up at home.
Exactly. Second home.
Second home, yeah. So the Connecting Kids, there's a rumor that you might be moving back one day. So the Connecting Kids, would you bring that back here with you?
I'm still thinking about how I could be both.
Okay.
Do the harmonic egg and do the Connecting Kids. And I think I'll find a way to make them both work.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't want to wear myself out too much, but I know I can find a way to make it work because my passion is really to help children.
Yeah. And so you wrote a book to help children. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the book? Maybe hold it up, flash it to the...
Yeah, here's my book.
And what's it called?
This book is called I Can Dance Too, and I actually wrote it with my friend Victoria Ames, who's also a speech therapist.
Okay.
And her and I both had a vision. And our vision was that we want all children to believe in themselves, no matter what differences they might have. Mm-hmm. So the little girl in the story, she wears hearing aids.
There's going to be a spoiler alert. So
I won't tell you the end.
If you guys, don't tell us the end.
So the little girl in the book wears hearing aids, and she wants to dance in a dance class like her friends. And, one of the kids in the class says that she can't dance with hearing aids. But I won't spoil the rest, so you got to read it.
So what inspired the book?
So what inspired the book is like our passion and love for working with children.
Yeah, okay.
And we really wanted all children to feel successful and to feel that, no matter what differences they might have, that they can accomplish their dreams just like anybody else can.
Yeah. And then so where can people find the book?
You can find it on Amazon.
Okay. Yep. So we'll post a link in the description below.
And then I can sign it for anybody when I see it.
I like that. You've given some shots out to your father and your brother and family. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's the fun part. When you publish a book, you get to pick and choose what you want to put in there. So the whole process was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great and so what about your other book there?
Okay, so this is the second book that I was published in. And this book actually became an international bestseller.
Wow.
So
how many copies is that, if you know?
Ooh, I don't know.
A ton.
It's a ton of copies, but we also had a Kindle version that we launched the book with, and then we launched the paper version after that.
So international, it's translated in many different languages. Is that what it is, or they're just reading it in English?
Reading it in English.
Okay. So worldwide.
Yeah.
That's great, though. That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just getting a book off the ground.
So tell us what's the premise of the book, or the...
So the premise of this book is writing a letter back to your younger self. Mm-hmm. Thinking about the pivotal moments in your life that created who you are today, and writing back to yourself as an adult.
Yeah.
Looking at your younger self. What would you have said to yourself when, you were sitting in your first grade classroom and you felt that you weren't as smart as everybody else?
Right.
So in this book, that's what I talk about. And I also give a shout out to my Chaldean culture in my story too.
That's great.
We're international now.
Yes.
Well, actually, we were.
We always were.
Been.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so there's 18 other authors that are in this book, and we all wrote about our lives. And so for me to put my story out there, I really feel like it's going to help other people.
Sure.
As Chaldeans, we were kind of told not to share our stories.
Yeah, that's
not to talk
true.
about things that are negative.
A lot of things were taboo to us growing up, and just an illness or a sickness or a struggle or something. It's like we just didn't talk about it.
Exactly. I talk about my struggle in here.
Yeah,
and all of the women do too.
Now, when we look for support, there's an outpour of it to get it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's changed by either that we've evolved or that by social media presence, but it's different.
It's an evolution.
Yeah,
It's gotta
is.
be,
Absolutely. This book was life-changing, though, for me.
Yeah, explain that. So tell us exactly, when you said it earlier, when you were explaining it, I took back, I like that idea, but can you explain to them exactly when you wrote and what some of the stuff that you had spoken about maybe
Sure.
from your childhood?
Yeah, and so one of the first things that started with the thoughts that I created about myself were when I was in first grade. And, when I was in first grade, I felt like I learned differently than other kids. I felt like maybe I read a little slower than some of the kids. And, it formulated this thought in my head that maybe I wasn't good enough, that maybe I wasn't as good as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, your thoughts that you create about yourself, they start at age 6, if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so that's the thought I had about myself when I was 6. And literally it followed me to adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the moments. Another moment was when I was in college, and again, my grades were not the best in college. Like I tried my hardest, and they just weren't as good as everybody else's.
Sure.
And I had a college professor tell me that I will never get into grad school because of my grades.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that
What a great professor.
Yeah.
right, and that I probably wouldn't be able to ever be a speech therapist.
Wow.
Yeah, and so, that stuck with me too, because, I thought, wow, I didn't know that I wouldn't be able to do these things, coming from a professional to say
Sure.
that to me.
But then when you proved them wrong.
Exactly. So I probably worked my whole entire life to prove her wrong.
Yeah. Oh, was it she?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And also another huge pivotal moment in my life is when my father passed away. And so I was 20.
Tomas.
Yeah, I was 20, and it was super hard on me as a 20-year-old because I'm super impressionable. And so I write about that in my story also. I'm not going to spoil this story either.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so in
All
order
right.
to find out, what else I wrote about, and honestly, a lot of the personal things that I wrote about in here, I did this to help other people, and I know that by sharing my story, and by sharing each story, you shared your story with me this morning,
Sure.
and I've known Anthony my whole entire life,
Yeah.
and this is how we help each other.
Right.
We help each other overcome hardships by sharing our stories and sharing what we did to help ourselves,
Sure. Yep.
And so anybody out there, I know they can read this book. This is also on Amazon.
Okay, so we'll post a link in that too.
Yeah.
So not everyone's going to be as accomplished as you and get an opportunity to be invited to take part in an international bestseller.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone out there that should sit down and think about the things that happened in their life, and then would you tell them to write a letter, or how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so actually in here, that's what it tells you to do.
Oh, really?
The exercise in here
Okay.
is to kind of take, those pivotal moments in your life, maybe 5 or 6 that you can think of that you've never forgotten because they've stuck with you.
Yeah.
And imagine yourself sitting next to your younger self.
Yeah.
As adults, we've learned so many lessons through our experiences. So what would you say to yourself? What would you have said what would you say to yourself now, knowing what you know? You went through these experiences to gain strength, to gain courage, to fall and to get back up, and to be even stronger when you get back up.
My letter will be as thick as that whole book right there.
Yeah.
Just to myself, man. I got so much I can tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
It's an amazing concept.
yeah, it is an amazing concept, and it is so therapeutic.
Therapeutic.
It's very healing and therapeutic.
I was trying to think of the word I would use to describe it or to use, and I'm glad you're here.
Well, leading into your therapeutic measures in dealing with stuff in life, whether it relates to depression or overcoming complexes that we grew up with, that kind of leads to, let's talk a little bit about the harmonic egg that you've got coming, because it seems like your life is to push and pursue people through therapeutic happiness, which again, we know, in my opinion, I like that approach. It's more holistic, let's say.
Yeah.
I've gone through therapy before, and the first thing they want to do is start talking to you about Adderall or Ritalin or any of that stuff quickly. I'm not a fan of pills, so I'm more into leaning to hear about your harmonic egg, and so I do things. white noise and stuff like that is therapeutic to me at a certain point, but your method of what you're talking is going to be on a whole nother level that's coming. I think it's a newer trend for therapy. So if you can explain that, please.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about it. And I feel really lucky that I have the opportunity to bring the first harmonic egg to Michigan. And it's actually being built right now. It's going to be in Michigan in August of 2020. Right. And what it is a sound and light chamber. It's shaped like a giant egg. And inside the egg is a zero gravity chair that you lay in. And the frequencies from the sounds are going into your body, bouncing off the walls, going back into your body. And the light frequencies and the light is also healing. And so what it works on is your nervous system. Okay. And it's almost like a forced meditative state. And so in meditation, we know that our body can heal itself. And so it helps you connect to your body to heal yourself.
That's a great thing. Is that something that is going to be like a session that you'll provide at some point? Is it something a consumer can purchase later into their own homes? Or is this something that will just be facilitated by a therapist to show you how to use it, and almost like instead of sitting me on a chair and counseling me, you've got me now in this harmonic egg that I'm going to be.
Right. So the sessions are usually 1 hour a week.
Okay.
Depending on, what it is that you're trying to work through. And so I would just put you in the egg and kind of just let the frequencies and the light do the work on you. And it really is the healing of the future because it's self-healing.
Sure.
It's going deep into your cells, and it's healing yourself.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
I have my sister-in-law, Judy Jonah. She does I don't know if you've ever met her. You guys sound like you'd be great to possibly meet. She does a lot of the spiritual healing where she does the massages. There's no touching involved. She's doing everything to pull everything out of you and what have you. So she does the
Reiki.
I don't forget. Is that what it's called?
Energy healing.
There you go.
Okay.
Energy healing. Because she was trying to have me do it with all the pain and all that stuff to do it. So her and Francis George actually have a office together, and they kind of share off. But it's a great thing. It's to see that you can walk away without having to go through actual medicine.
With her.
Yeah, she'd be a good one.
And in the egg, so how are you going to get doubters to try the egg, or does it work on people that don't believe?
That's a good question because I've been thinking about that myself. Bringing the egg to Michigan, it was actually, something that I was hesitating to do because where I live in Santa Monica, we have people that are very,
That's it. That's a lay down
forward thinking. Yeah, it's like, and for me too, like if you met me 10 years ago and somebody told me about this, I would think it was weird.
Yeah.
It's very different and very weird.
Right.
Well, what it really comes down to is understanding the science behind it, and a person that's doubting it, I would educate them.
Right.
And I would, show them what it does and how it works. And, hopefully to be able to shift their thoughts about doubting things that might be outside of their comfort zone or outside of what they know.
Yeah.
So, anything through education and, I would let them try it.
Yeah. Well, who knew we would be flying through the air in airplanes?
Right.
That if you told people that back in the day, they'd be like, "Are you crazy?"
Right.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Even healing through freezing somebody negative 300 degrees cryotherapy, that would be, you know what I'm saying? Because that's healing, right?
Yeah.
Without having to go through actual like pills and what have you.
Also acupuncture too.
Acupuncture, yeah. Like who would ever thought some of this stuff would be this far? And is there like a particular fee offhand, or is there like what's an average person? What would they pay to be sitting inside of an egg for an hour? Like, or do you know if it's like a package thing or how you're going to structure it?
So I am going to structure it by packages, and the more sessions you buy in the package, the less it will be per session.
Okay.
And there are only 8 eggs in the United States.
Okay.
And the average price is about $100 per session.
Okay. So when it's time, when you get
hour?
it,
Yes,
That's
for
good.
1 hour.
Wow.
when you're ready to launch, we'll get you back on here on the show.
Yeah.
Get you back on so that way you can let people know, maybe even give an intro promo for the Keeping Up with the Chaldeans,
Absolutely.
just something. But I'm saying we'll still help you promote that and push that. So when you're ready, just you feel welcome to bring it back on the show.
Yeah, thank you. And then also, I'll let you guys go in the egg too, so you can see how it feels
Cool.
and kind of talk about your
That'd be cool.
experience.
I definitely wouldn't mind
Yeah.
getting on that.
And so you said it was zero gravity bed.
A chair,
A
zero
chair.
gravity chair.
Oh, what's a zero gravity chair?
You know, I think, have you guys ever seen one before? It's just one of those chairs that recline back. And so being zero gravity, it's 360 degrees of healing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost there's lawn chairs that can sometimes be
That's
zero
right.
gravity.
Yep.
Okay.
Like you can just extend them back, and
Yeah.
it almost feels like you're just on light air. Like
Okay.
there's
That's right.
nothing really weighing you down when you're on there. So
Gotcha.
Yep. So that's a good thing. Who are some of the influences in your life that you had that you can give, a shout out to, or, let them know that you feel that they're important in your life that got you where you are today?
Okay, one of my major influences is my father.
All right.
He was like the friendliest person. He
yeah.
loved people.
Loved everyone.
He loved
man.
everyone.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Tomas.
Tomas. Yeah.
Tomas Toma.
Tomas Toma or Kashimaun.
Okay.
Like, that's where I think I got my heart from.
Yeah.
My
All right.
spirit is from my dad, because he would talk to everybody. And, I wanted to be like him, too. I wanted to talk to everybody, too, because he just loved life so much. He wanted
Yeah.
to get to know everybody around him.
Yep.
Remember that about him, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he wanted to make everybody laugh.
It's a good
He
thing.
he had the best personality, and, people were attracted to being in his presence
Yes.
because of that.
That's
And
great.
so when I remember my dad, like, I want to live his legacy of loving people and loving life.
That's an awesome thing. Any of the authors or co-authors of these books or friends in the industry that you want to maybe
Well,
give a nice little
I
touch to?
actually, my mom, I dedicated my story to my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause,
Sahira.
yeah.
Sorry,
She's a champ, man.
Nice.
My mom is an incredible woman.
She really is.
Great.
My mom is stronger than any woman I know.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
She is.
Yeah.
She's tough, man.
And my dad, after my dad passed away, my mom really stepped up, and she became a mom and a dad in one.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
And she went back to school and got
Yeah.
degrees and did everything, man. Ran the business
Yeah,
until
my mom-
Tom was old enough to help out.
Yeah. And so being an independent woman, I got that from my mom. Because my mom is independent, taking care of our whole entire family. And
I would say give something optimistic to the other women that want to become independent or are and need that little extra push to get them to that next level. Any words of advice you can give to these women out there, because we're embracing them heavy in our community now.
We sure are.
Versus what it was before. So
yeah. One thing that I would say is that this life that we hear is a journey. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be things that don't work out. But what I always want to tell people is never give up. When you have a dream, you can always achieve your dream. Like no matter what it is, even if you feel like you're not going further, you're not going far, or something gets in the way and makes you take a couple steps back, like keep going, keep going.
keep pushing.
Always keep pushing yourself. And, for me, I have a community of people who support me. We as Chaldeans, we're so lucky.
We
have
really
such
are.
a supportive community. And being a part of that community, just, embrace it and bring yourself and try to be the best person that you could be.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Respect everyone, but especially respect your Chaldean brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
Yep. Appreciate it. Anything else we got
Is there anything else you want to get
Anything
off
you
your
wanna
chest?
do?
Talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
We could talk about the documentary too. a
Oh
little
yes.
bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
we almost
did.
forgot.
Yes, we
You guys
did.
almost
All right,
forgot.
let's
Got a beautiful
do that.
trailer,
Let's
yep.
tell us about the documentary and
Okay, so, it's funny because when I moved to LA, everybody was like, oh, you want to be an actress? You're moving to LA. And I thought, no, I don't want to be an actress.
Right.
I'm me,
yeah.
But what happened when I first moved there is that I actually got casted for a documentary. I never thought I would be filmed for anything because, it's just not me. I never thought.
What was the casting? How did you land the casting? Where did
So-
it come from?
Okay, so my friend and I we went out to dinner, and we ended up bumping into her friend who's in casting, and he met me, and he thought that I had like some interesting personality, interesting stories to tell, and
Yeah.
he thought that I would be the right fit for the show. And I said, well, I don't really know what you're talking about. Like, I don't want to be a part of something that's like, I don't know, what is this all about?
Yeah.
And
like
so
the Bachelorette.
Yeah, like the
Lynette's
Bachelorette.
Like, what the heck's going on?
Right.
I don't need this garbage.
Exactly. But what it was about was everything that is about me, living this life and being a person that contributes to the world, being a part of something that's bigger than you, helping other people, but also digging deep into your own self, digging deep into those parts of yourself that aren't as pretty as the other ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
And doing it on camera. And so one of my biggest fears was doing it on camera.
Yeah.
Telling people about my insecurities on camera and feeling real emotions on camera. And I did it. And so it really did make me a more confident person. Some of the things that we did on the show were, well, I was filmed in 2 location shoots. The first one that I was filmed in was in Ecuador. We did a contribution.
When you say
project.
we, how many people are taking part in the show? And
so for the first, for the filming that we did, we had about 20 entrepreneurs.
okay.
Yeah. And so 20 entrepreneurs going to Ecuador to give back to the community, but also to transform themselves. And so I'll give you a couple examples of what we did. Part of the contribution was that we took water filters to the tribes in the Amazon, and we helped over 600 people get access to clean water for up to 10 years.
Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
We hand-delivered water filters to tribes in the Amazon. It was an amazing experience.
That's huge.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great. And I think I saw in the documentary that the kids' eyes pop open when they saw the clean water. Like the water was muddy, mucky, and it came out crystal clear.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
It was so awesome. And what we don't realize is that, we have our own problems within, ourselves.
Sure.
But the world is in crisis too.
Oh, yeah.
Because
problem.
we have 2 billion people in this world who do not have access to clean water.
That's insane.
It is insane. There are 7.
2019.
Water.
Yeah, water. We take it for granted, right?
See, look, I'm drinking clean water. It's like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those water filters are life-changing for those people because contaminated water causes diseases that kills people.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, we learned that from Flint.
Yep, that's right. That's so close to home.
Yeah.
And so bringing those clean water filters, I mean, the water filters clean out the contaminants that cause malaria.
Ugh.
And so these people were so grateful. They had a huge celebration for us. They danced for us. And, the kids were all dressed up. And it was just, it was so heartfelt. Like,
God bless them.
Yeah. I mean,
and God bless you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. It was just such an amazing experience. But, when I talk about the transformation part, we're helping to transform other people's lives. But in order to do that, we have to transform ourselves first, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so that's facing fears. And it's, facing the fear of public speaking. We had to do a speech at one of the colleges there. I was never a public speaker. That was really one of my fears. It went really well because you know what? We came as a community to support each other.
Yeah.
And we helped each other, to feel comfortable. And that's the kind of world we want to create, a world where we're not alone. We don't want anybody to feel alone. Like, we want to feel supported.
Yep.
In order to get past those fears. And so in the video and the trailer, you didn't get to see it yet.
Yep.
I walk on fire.
That's huge because you've got to basically make your mind work up enough courage, first of all, and second of all, enough to not feel the heat coming through your feet.
Exactly. And so, after I did that, I mean, I feel like I can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you walked on fire.
Yeah.
What else is there to do? Walk on water?
That's next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Lynette the firewalker.
It was definitely life-changing for me. You have doubts about yourself and doubts about what you think you can and can't do.
Yeah.
This is on YouTube, the link?
Yeah.
And what's the name of the video?
Well, it's Awakening Giants. That's the name of our
documentary.
Yeah, our documentary.
Okay.
And I'll give you the link to post
Yeah,
it.
we'll post that for sure.
We'll post that for sure.
Yeah.
On there. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Now that's biggest thing is I swear when you can find inner peace, then you can exactly
Yeah.
Be
push
more
off the-
spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the hippiest Chaldean out there.
No, there's
No, there's
Oh, there's some more.
Yeah,
we have another
some.
one. We have a few others.
You
but
introduce me to them.
I will.
Yeah, they're not here, right?
No, there's one that's moved back
Okay.
recently, and there's a couple others. But yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You definitely got to meet Francis and Judy. I think
Yeah.
you'll mesh pretty well with them.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So
And I wanted
Anyone
to
else
tell
you-
you guys one
go
more
ahead.
thing
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
for sure.
So the second location that I was filmed in was in New Zealand.
Okay.
And in New Zealand, we stayed with a leader of a tribe that
Okay.
was pre-Maoris. So they were one of the first people to be on that land in New Zealand.
Okay.
And so one thing that was really important to them is their ancestors. And so when they invite people to stay on their marae, and their marae, they don't let people stay on it. But we got to stay on the marae
How come?
because we had connections.
Okay. All right.
We had the
great.
connections, and also we were doing the filming for the documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and they said it was okay to be. They wanted to be a part of it too because they're fighting for their land also.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
What a privilege.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing,
It was
some-
amazing.
If you look in the past few years, some tribes you still cannot get near them. They will.
Yeah.
They'll spare truck. They'll still bow and arrow.
Yeah,
That's
There's
true.
Some Americans have been killed going over to try to get
Yeah,
onto
there's some
these
land, there's some islands, that don't
There's-
allow
no,
visitors.
That's true.
That's true.
Yep. Very
So-
territorial.
So what was really cool was, when you come onto the marae, you're supposed to sing a song,
Mm-hmm.
and so being the honorary Chaldean on the marae,
Yeah.
I made up a song in Chaldean.
Did you really?
Yeah, just a couple lines though.
Let's hear it.
No.
Come on, Lynette.
I don't
That's on
wanna-
the 20. That's on
I'm
the 2020 show. We're
Yeah,
going over.
Maybe when you guys see it, you can hear me singing.
Okay.
But what was so special is that it was he the leader of the tribe. His name is Taporoho. He wanted us to connect to our ancestors, and he was even shocked. I mean, I am Chaldean, coming onto his marae, and having ancestors that are almost as old as his, even
Right.
older. He was
that's a
shocked.
big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It was really cool. Because what he does is he goes back into the ancestry and going as far back as our ancestry goes. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're the evolution of humanity, right?
Yeah.
we are.
We started out of Iraq.
Yeah, Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very old, and so it's like we have old souls,
Sure.
and reconnecting to, the ancestry and knowing that, like, we're here for a big purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Our community,
Right.
We are a community of, entrepreneurs, business people, we have a big part in this world.
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
And so how did he teach you to connect with your ancestors? How does that work?
I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but it was really interesting. Like, what he does is you actually have to put your head up to his head and your nose touches his nose.
Oh, no shit.
And he downloads information from your head to his.
Hmm.
However he does that.
All right.
I mean, this, if you want to picture this, it's similar to meeting the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so his connection to people and to being able to connect to the ancestors is so strong that, he could do it with anybody.
Very cool.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And so, one of the things that he talked about was the women. And the women in our ancestry,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, they weren't as independent as they are today.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Their rights, we didn't have rights like we do today and opportunities that we do today. And so,
Well, the women of the Middle East still don't have rights as.
But it's in every single one of them.
Yeah.
You just have to have the freedom to
Yep.
bring
To
it
break
out.
it.
that's
Yep.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. And so, what he was basically saying is, as a woman with an ancestry that dates back to so long ago,
Right.
the strength that I got to break out of it and to break those, old ways of thinking and the old ways of, what women should do and what it should look like to be, a woman.
Mm-hmm.
We change those patterns. We today, I as a woman, change those patterns by being independent and by being happy and proud of myself.
Absolutely.
Agreed. You hear that, Chaldean women?
Yep.
Gotta just empower yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there, embrace it, and just go do it. That's really what it comes down to.
And if
There's
you're
no
having-
holding you
and
back.
if you're struggling with it, just go get a Beyonce album and you'll be all set. She'll bring it out of you.
And honestly, like, I'm going to put myself out there and say that, like, if anybody needs help and is
Oh,
struggling,
that's awesome.
they can reach out to me. They
Do
can
you-
call me. They can email me. Like, I'm free to talk to anybody who is out there who thinks that they are alone. You are not alone.
That's why you're such a badass.
Thank you.
Are you connected to social media at all? Okay.
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook, and then I'll include my email in there.
Cool.
And honestly, when I say reach out to me, I'm not just saying it
She's
to
not
say it.
talking
Here I am
talk. She's
today.
not talking
Yeah.
the talk. She
Yeah.
walks the
Yeah.
walk, guys.
That's right.
And
It's
girls.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for spending time sharing your story, giving encouragement and strength to our viewers out there, and you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
So
really-
good to see you. It's
I'm
been
really
Thank
so
you. I
long.
know. Seriously, it has been too long.
I'm really looking forward to that harmonic egg.
Yeah, me
yes.
too.
I
I'll
really
get you
am.
guys in there
Yeah,
as soon as it
awesome.
comes here.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Well, thanks, Lynette.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Yep.